what a brilliant combination of speakers today. It's going to be interesting for the audience. We have extraordinary response, over 500 registrations from 30 odd countries. I'm sure we are going to offer value addition, which you will relish. What's happening in the world is extraordinary. 31.4 million people are impacted. Nearly we lost 974,000 people. By no means it's ordinary. The human tragedy is extraordinary, and we are going through extraordinary set of changes and challenges. We live in a changing world. We have seen COVID-19 has impacted in all respects. Economic risk is abundant. The world is completely paralyzed. I must say it's a contraction to the tune of 4.9%, and advanced economies are grossly underperforming to the tune of 8% in aggregate terms. Developing economies, emerging markets are going to perform as a contraction, 3%. And in the midst, there are contentious issues in terms of fiscal and monetary alignment. 25 trillion has been pumped world over to bring in financial stability. Technocrats, economists, politicians are all converging to bring in sustainable value chain. We want to improve the debt servicing capacity of individuals to make sure we face this new normal. On the social risk, we have seen the measures taken. Social distancing has been observed. We're trying to reopen, but the second wave looks imminent. We have to get set. Yesterday's remarks by WHO, either we are swim together or sink together. That's a huge statement. That rings the bell. We also see impact on the environment. We want to create a better carbon neutral society. We want to factor environment in everything. This is an opportunity for us to perhaps look at objectively and see what sort of sustainable development measures we can bring in, whether we can bring in food security, whether we can eliminate extreme poverty, whether we can bring in universal healthcare or education, global warming and climate change, digital governance. Can we reignite to make sure that we can bring in peace, justice, truth in actions? So plenty of excitement for us to see through. We create a better world, convert this crisis into an opportunity, and create footprints for better citizenship, better world from today, tomorrow. And that's the very purpose of our submission. With this perspective in mind, we have been bringing the relationships across the globe. Qatar with Japan, South Korea, Singapore, Hong Kong, India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Germany, United Kingdom. Investment opportunities we showcased. Now, today is an extraordinary set of treat to the audience, I should say. Where do we put our money? How do we recognize the Qatar opportunities? How do we make sure we can get a silver bullet in substance to see Qatar's economic sustenance is playing in real terms in the investment solutions? That is the very purpose of our submission today. With this perspective in mind, I have to showcase what Qatar is all about and how Qatar is represented in the form of Qatar Exchange Traded Funds. There are very many experts across, and they're all going to enlighten you today. But my focus will be the economic fundamentals. Yesterday, I met the finance minister, and he was very optimistic on the overall sustainable value chain which we are creating on hydrocarbon, non-hydrocarbon, and the overall concerted vision of 2030. Here is the look which you have to understand. So in global terms, we recognize the alignment of monetary and fiscal policy is important. We understand the global contraction, and we want to make sure we recover this world in 2021, possibly, otherwise, definitely 2022. The clinical solution is still not out, so we are not sure when 7 billion people will be administered, when we will be restoring normalcy. Nobody is sure of it. Everyone is making measurable gambles. And that's what speculation is all about. Today, how do we make sure we live in a world which is interconnected, interdependent, and still hold our humanity? And that's the very purpose. We're reducing the interest rate. The Federal Reserve has taken enormous amount of steps to see that debt servicing is improving. They're not even thinking of interest rate. The economic fundamentals are defying the logics. Stock markets are in disarray, ups and downs. Financial markets are highly a place of gambling ground. That's the visibility we are seeing. Stocks, currencies, commodities, bonds, properties, name it. The valuations are getting into speculations. How do we bridge the gap? How do we make sure we bring in stability? How do we protect our investments? How do we bring in financial literacy for your understanding? And that's the very purpose. So the oil price is governing this part of the world, where 45% of the world oil in for the Gulf states. And it is also facing the oscillations and volatility. Qatar has taken an average of $48 million per barrel. Brent or WTI is facing the tunes. Qatar economy is going to perform in a single-digit contractions to the tune of 5%, I should say, at this point. It remains to be seen what sort of overall impact in terms of the inflow of investments is coming in. But Qatar has taken right measures. The healthcare has worked. The mortality rate is bare minimum. Over 28% of the population has been tested. We have healthcare systems improving day by day. But we have to understand, we have to make the economy work by interconnecting with the rest of the world. It means we have to be cautious. We have to understand the overall measures taken are all enduring its long-term value.
Located on the region's busiest shipping route, Qatar is perfectly positioned for international trade, with direct air and sea connections to Asia, Africa and Europe. Qatar is becoming a leading destination for next-generation business models. Its thriving, knowledge-based economy has helped secure its place among the most competitive business environments in the world, an ideal destination for foreign investment. The past 4 decades have seen a 9-fold increase in Qatar's population to 2.7 million. The current political blockade by neighboring countries has only served to strengthen the nation's self-sufficiency, and strategic investment continues to accelerate. Qatar has already spent $33 billion on infrastructure projects, with new contracts to be awarded over the next 3 years, not least with the 2022 FIFA World Cup on the horizon. The national strategy, Vision 2030, is even more ambitious. Qatar is known as the world's leading supplier of liquefied natural gas and a leading player in aviation and sports and the media.
That's the bigger picture in terms of Qatar economy. On the central bank side, 75 billion Qatar Riyal has been pumped. Monetary and fiscal framework has been supporting the overall climate. Debt servicing capacity has improved. We postponed the installments. We postponed the interest for affected sectors. We are also giving a concessional advantage. Qatar Development Bank has revised programs, both funded and non-funded facilities. We're waiving the rates and taxes. They're waiving the rent for impacted sectors. So plenty of measures to see that financial stability is there. Liquidity crisis should not move into funding or solvency or sovereign issue long term. That's what we have experienced in 2008. It was confined to one single sector. Today, it affects every part of the business. We have to be careful, and regulators have taken enormous measures in Qatar. Credit momentum has been augmenting well. Asset growth is 6%, credit facilities 6% again. Government has grown by 4%, real estate 3% for the first 8 months. Consumption 3.6%, contracting 9.4%, services 11%, trading 11%, deposit growth 3.4%. By no means it's an ordinary performance in this current context. But we have a challenge to make. We have to necessarily understand, we map these challenges. Hydrocarbon is going to scale up from 77 to 110 million metric ton by 2025. And 2027, we will be producing 127 million metric ton. That's equivalent to 6 million barrels of oil. The additional revenue generation is going to be $20 billion US. That's sizable. Essentially, we have to make sure the contraction what we have witnessed this year is getting offset in the coming years. And Qatar's GDP is responsive to produce both fiscal and current account surplus. We have long-term supply chain. in terms of emerging markets, and energy mix is a major issue for the world today. Energy efficient environment for LNG will play a big role. Some of the engineering marvels. Hydrocarbon apart, non-hydrocarbon is moving in the right direction. Airport, seaport, road, rail, all are getting connected in total orders. Free zones are coming up very well. So 3 billion allocated for supporting the free zones. These are clusters which are going to help for improving the business climate. Enormous amount of concession advantage has been embedded in the whole framework. We have investment programs rightly sitting. Qatar is looking for multiple markets, multiple sectors to see diversification of structured solutions plays a role. We also have bigger opportunity in terms of fast move. The Ministry of Transport has come out with a brilliant program for 6 billion Qatar riyal, and this is going to reignite the business climate. And Qatar Financial Center is in the right directions. 4 distinct opportunities cropping up: sports, digital, financial, and media. And Financial Center has been a growing success in ensuring Qatar is second to none in terms of world-class financial power. Qatar investment law has been reframed. That's going to be a bigger advantage. 100% ownership is possible, and we have specifics, value advantage, competitive offerings definitely outlined in this framework. Regulating the investments for non-Qatari investors have been pronounced in last year, January, and we have reasons to believe that should improve the overall environment for investments. And we have property law framed up of late, 16 designated areas for non-Qatari to buy the property. That's also a welcome change. That's going to improve the overall real estate. Property law has been pronounced last year, March. Public-private partnership law has been in the making, and that's also come out this year. And that is a value advantage for us to see through that it's all sovereign support plus the private entrepreneurs coming together, building this collaboration and ensuring we have sustainable value chain created for long-term value. Food security is abundant. Now we're self-sufficient. Gone are the days in 2017. We had to realign the business model. Today, we have reliance on self-help, and we have made sure everything coming to terms. Qatar FinTech is evolving. Qatar Central Bank is driving. Qatar Development Bank is in the forefront of creating the sandbox and moving in the value chain. Qatar Business Startup is also in the right directions. Any advisories, any solutions, provisions is measured and managed and controlled. Qatar Stock Exchange has been in the forefront. Today, the index is almost 9,800 points, and it's down by 6%. So arguably, it's the second best in relative terms when it comes to performance. But we have reasons to believe it's doing a great job. The diversification strategy, deepening of the liquidity, ensuring collaboration with the Asian markets and others, and ensuring global set standards in terms of governance or transparency, or increasing the individual shareholdings or foreign ownership, and fintech again, promoting new issuers, ensuring new IPOs, are all taking feather in the cap. It's moving in the right directions. We have seen the initiatives taken by Qatar Exchange is in the right kind of inflow of investments, and the leadership is profound, and we are proud of being part of the system. Now, Qatar Exchange and this is what we did 2.5 years before, as Sham has mentioned, and the credibility of the fund, the performance of the fund, Talal is here to enlighten. And by no means it is an ordinary performance. This is a reflection of the economy. The index solution is rightly linked and is professionally managed, transparency, governance, and ensuring right returns with professional management. And that's what we mean. When it comes to concessional costing, you can see the value advantage when Talal presents. So plenty of reasons to believe this is the right solution for international investors. That's the very purpose of the submission today. Not only Qatar is growing, Qatar index is going to add real value in an economy which has got right governance, political, social, economic, consequential. Qatar Exchange traded products, which is simple terms. I'm not going to and stock exchange performance I mentioned, and that is the prime submission I have, and I'm here to answer any of your questions. And the bigger picture is Qatar Exchange Traded Fund is moving in the right directions, right kind of management from Avanticom. We have liquidity providers in substance. Qatar Exchange itself is taking pragmatic steps, and we have fine line of speakers to enlighten you in global terms what's happening to the ETF, what sort of passive investments taking a shape, and what sort of reorganization taking place in the investment arena, and how you should move forward, why you should invest in Qatar Exchange Traded Funds, what sort of opportunities you will have in the coming days in terms of financial markets. All these are going to be the subject of discussions, and there will be scope for question answers. I want the Facebook users to shoot these questions once we finish the prime rounds, and we are here to respond to all your queries today. Thank you for your participation.